Hello there, this is Jenny Hallett. Welcome to Brittanys Impact Series. And so this series is about alcohol addiction and how it impacted my beautiful 26-year-old daughter, Brittany Rose Hallett, and how it led to her death. It just took her down with a vengeance very, very quickly, and how it affected, and impacted my life, and how it impacted, all of her family and friends. And so my hope with this series is to be able to, turn her death into a really positive impact and hopefully save as many lives as possible in her honor. And so today, what I really want to talk about is really putting a face on alcohol addiction so that you can see the person. She's not just a statistic, she's somebody that we deeply loved. And so this is Brittany Rose. Here's just a beautiful, stunning picture of her. And this picture right here is actually of her when we were on our vacation in July of 2014. We went to Fort Myers. She was so happy. It's the happiest I'd seen her in a long time. And that was the July just before she died, November of 2014. So many cherished memories, and so glad that we did take that vacation with her. So other things I kind of wanted to point out a little bit, just since we're talking about Brittany, is this right here. I wear this necklace all the time, if I can get it untangled. And so her middle name's Rose. And so my son, she died in November of 2014. My son Nick, he got me, you probably can't see it, but it's a little rose because her middle name is Rose. So I wear that all the time. And then my dear, dear friend Dee Dee, she bought me this, which you can't see very well, but it actually has Brittany's thumbprint. It's her actual thumbprint, so she's with me all the time. And if you're curious, this cross I wear all the time too. That was my mother's. She lived with us, and she actually died just less than 2 months after Brittany did. So very difficult time of my life. I lost both of them who lived with me within 2 months. So anyway, a little bit more about Brittany. She was born 1988. And it's one of those things in the hospital, holding her. We were so happy. Never, ever in my wildest dreams would I thought I'd be burying her, and certainly not to a preventable, thing like alcohol drinking. You would think it'd be so easy to prevent that. But it turns out it can be very difficult. But she was just a lovely little, beautiful little girl. Loved doing all the things most kids do. I have sweet memories of playing rummy with her while we're waiting for the school bus. Or she loved to cook and bake. Even if it wasn't something she enjoyed eating, she would bake it for the rest of us. And so her favorite holiday was Halloween. So I, always decorate her gravesite, especially with lots of tasteful Halloween decorations, not too creepy. But I think she would really like that. She was just a very intelligent young lady. She had straight A's pretty much her whole life, maybe a few B's. And that actually was following through in college. I saw her transcripts after she died, up until right to the end, where she, in the end, started getting D's and F's and retakes and things because of the alcoholism, which we'll talk about more later. But she was very loving, very family-oriented. She'd be the one who'd be going out of her way to try to get a hold of, all of us to try to plan a time where we could all get together and spend quality family time. So very special memories, and she made my favorite strawberry pie. I really, really miss my strawberry pie. So anyway, that's just a little bit about her. She was raised in a very loving home. I loved her deeply. She knew we loved her deeply, all of us. We knew she loved us. There was really not much alcohol in our house, ever. We didn't drink that much. I never liked drinking that much. I enjoy the taste of wine a little bit, but I like to be in control of, my thinking. I've just never gotten into drinking. And at the time we were married, my ex-husband, we just didn't have alcohol in the house. So she wasn't raised with a lot of alcohol drinking, which, can impact a child if they see parents drinking a lot and, see that being a normal thing. That actually can have, an impact on what they do later in life. But in this case, no, she wasn't raised around that. Where I really began to see the changes was when she went to college. To the best of my knowledge, she didn't have a drinking problem before then. I really don't believe so, especially since I can see that her grades in college were following along straight A's until right towards, the last classes where it started dropping off. I was able to see on her social media accounts loads of pictures of partying, drinking upside down. You could just tell there was so much activity with alcohol and so many things in her college life. I'm kind of guessing it helped limber her up, loosen her up, make her fit in a little more. But eventually it just grabbed her and took her down with a vengeance. So that's, kind of where I started beginning to see the signs. But even then, alcoholism was never even on my radar. She ended up having a really nice boyfriend for a couple of years. She lived with him. Honestly, I really did believe that they would get married. They seemed very much in love. And then one day he asked her to move out, and I was kind of shocked because I really thought they'd get married. So I kind of, I let her move back in with me so that she could get her feet back under her. And had no idea, but I do believe there was a problem at that time. But, she was pretty good at hiding it for a while. And then one day, my youngest son, I'm not sure exactly how old he was at the time, 14, 15 maybe, he calls me up and says, "Mom, you need to get home. Brittany's talking to people who aren't in the room." And so I rushed home, and sure enough, she was still hallucinating, which I found out later actually can be caused from alcohol withdrawal. I never knew that. Most people don't. If you're an alcoholic, you drink a lot over a long period of time and heavily, the withdrawal symptoms can actually produce hallucinations. It was pretty scary to see, your daughter talking to people who are not there. I asked her, I'm like, what are they wearing? And she went around the room, pointed to each one, told me exactly what they're wearing, if they had a beard or mustache, whatever, long hair for girls, counted them, talking to them wasn't too scary. And then she was trying to show me this cute little creature that was in her purse. She was just digging through, and, "Oh, he's so cute, I want to show it to you," but she could never find it. And then it turned into terrifying. She was hallucinating to the point where she herself could see zombies in our backyard trying to get into the house. She was taking chairs from my kitchen table, taking the chairs and stacking them up against my glass patio window, door, and trying to stack them. I had to call my son in to help me, get those down because I didn't want her to, break the glass or get hurt. But she was just frantic and crying because they were going to get in. She was talking about how she wouldn't let them get me. Very, very scary. So found out later that that's actually a very dangerous sign. So if you ever hear of someone who is hallucinating from alcohol withdrawals, it's a very, very dangerous sign, and they are in grave danger, and you need to call 911 right away. We didn't quite realize how bad it was at the time, kind of tried to write it out, but eventually did take her into the hospital. After that, I insisted that she had to go into a 30-day program with one of the best rehab facilities in the country. We spent about $16,000 to send her there for 30 days, and that was at half off we were able to get. So normally it'd be about $32,000 for about 28 to 30 days. And we were so naive. You're you're new to this and you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I'm going to be the parent that's going to be very understanding and loving, not judgmental. I'm going to, help her through this. We're going to be fine. We sent her there and we expected to go pick her up and she'd be all fixed and all better again. I wish I was that naive again, because no, that's just not how it works. 2 days later, she was drinking again. So, it's one of those things that sometimes it takes several times, can be quite a few times of getting help, but you can't stop fighting to get that help. So after that, we had a few rounds of some other inpatient programs for like 3.5 weeks here and there. She did some outpatient treatment programs. Problem with her, she just kind of resisted it. I think it was still a very good idea to send her there because it taught her a lot, and many people say the same thing. Sometimes you don't quite get it the first or second time, but you've learned enough while you're in there that eventually now you do want it and you're not afraid to go for the help, and you've learned a lot about it. So I don't regret that we sent her there, but I just believe in her case she was an acute alcoholic and she really truly needed minimally 6 months to a year inpatient treatment program to even have a chance. I know that, because she was so far along this progressive brain disease. So, it's something that, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish them to be addicted, and I wouldn't wish them to have a loved one who is addicted, because it's a very long road, and you have to really work hard at overcoming it. And, people can, be in addiction for 20, 30 years, be in recovery for 20, 30 years and still relapse. So it's something you have to be diligent on, and people can't get complacent on it down the road either and think, oh, I've been sober for, she actually was in the hospital one time with a lady who had been sober for 18 years and was in there for drinking alcohol. So you can never let your guard up. Once you're truly addicted to alcohol, that first drink is the most deadliest, because that first drink's the one that can, it can just make it difficult to not have 2, 3, 4, 5, and just keep right on going. And then it just starts right back up again. So, I'm here to try to encourage people to, get into recovery, reach out, go to meetings, talk to people as fast and as early as you can. And hopefully I'll be able to give you more tips along the way. And, once all of this took place, finally in the end, one day, I came home and found her dead in her bed. And it's just something that I'll never get that image and that feeling. It's something that I can never unsee or unfeel. And so when you lose a child, really for any reason, but especially addiction, and I imagine suicide, where you have a lot of what ifs. What if I'd only done this? Or what if I could have just gotten her this help or that help? And the negative stigma that's associated with it all, contributes to even, just a terrible way to have to try to deal with the grief. And so I'm really hoping to prevent other people from having to go through that, from having to die from it, or from having to lose a loved one from it. And so I also want to point out that I do have a website that I've created. And I post as much helpful information on there about alcohol addiction as I can find. There's a link on there to a special Facebook page too that I have. It's all free. But this Facebook page, I try to just share as much information, whether it be articles or resources or websites or, something I've found out about in the news, or, just wonderful sober living places or sober bars, things like that, or ideas for maybe a sober St. Patrick's Day ideas, things like that I try to share on there. And so if you're curious to take a look at that, the website, it's called Brittany's Alcoholism Counseling and Prevention, but the website is www.BrittanysACAP.com. So that stands for Brittany's, and the ACAP is Alcoholism Counseling and Prevention. And so you can go out there, and there's a link right from that website that will take you to the Facebook page too, where that's where I can easily share things, much more quickly. So I hope that helps you. Like I said before, if you would like to see more of these videos, I'm going to be posting lots of topics and things that I wish people knew about. And if you have ideas for topics, please put them in the comments or reach out to me through my website, Facebook page, and I'll try and talk about those too. And so all I can say is I just hope that everybody out there, keep fighting the fight, and I love you forever, sweet pea. Brittany Rose. Bye-bye.